24. My understanding that a motor authority arrived with you is affirmative. No, the call button. 3619 and 10 minutes of the another north or downhill motor is going to take that one.
And it was just a normal Thursday. That point in the morning, I did not know what was going to happen. Because it could have been over that day.
How did this relationship between the two of you go to the point where it is now? Do you believe this counteroffensive is Ukraine's best shot at winning this?
In my car, alerted. I looked at the call and saw it said confirmed holdup. The information we were given was the suspects were leaving in a black Honda Accord.
When I heard the emergency tone, my ears peaked up. A bank robbery is one of the most serious calls because not only would it carry penalties within the state, but federally. I wanted to be the one to get behind the suspect. I was within a minute and a half to 2 minutes of making contact. Clemson approaching Fairwood.
As I got closer, it was a black Honda Accord with a 45-day tag. It's a bank robbery suspect. They just robbed a bank. They all are armed. Okay, this is going to be chasing till the wheels fall off. It's a temporary expense, KBO motor sales. He's turning into Longwood negative, turning left onto Heather Green. Yeah, correction, right on the Heather Green.
I began getting into a hunt mode. We had our prey. All we had to do was get them to stop.
That's one of the reasons I got into law enforcement as well was, I mean, got into it to drive fast. We stopped, we're making a right on the Corson. Corson Loop is lined with houses, both sides. Every street off of Heather Green Drive ends in a cul-de-sac. So obviously I know that, and it's either going to be them running on foot or a shootout. I had had my seatbelt off, my left hand was on the door handle, my weapon was out of my holster.
We were both locked in on the vehicle. I'm not only going after these subjects, I'm keeping an eye on my deputy, and I'm going to do whatever I could to keep him safe.
We're passing Camus Court. Making a left at the dead end. I caught my mirror, and that's the first time during this whole incident that I knew somebody else with the sheriff's department was with me.
I've known MacAdams since before he was a deputy sheriff. He's always been a very steadfast officer. He's got the fighting spirit.
Correct. Making a left, correct. Making a left. Something told me, don't know what it was. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I saw windshield fragments go everywhere. I had no idea how many times my car was actually hit.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
I was able to hold the driver's door open with my foot and fully get down in my driver's seat.
I did feel the rounds hitting my car. I could hear them still impacting MacAdams' vehicle as well.
I don't necessarily remember feeling any, like, being scared, being frightened. It was more or less, what do I need to do to make sure I make it out of this?
Shots fired! Shots fired!
I find it funny when people think they can define me.
Because I'm more than just one me.
Investigation gripping the nation. An ID special report. The Long Island serial killer. Sunday at 8. Only on ID.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Time slowed down.
My goal was, at that point, to try and draw the fire and keep it from MacAdams. I was able to draw my weapon, and I leveled up on one of the passengers getting out of the vehicle. And I fired through my windshield. I struck him twice in the leg. I'm yelling to MacAdams to make sure he's all right.
Is that Duke on the left?
We have 3 subjects at large. MacAdams and I were only 2 deputies. We had residents that had been home starting to exit, so containing the scene at that point became the chief priority.
Once my mind caught up to what had just happened, just felt like I was gonna throw up everywhere. Definitely was weak, and I ended up trying to catch my breath and calm down. I remember asking if I could call my mom. I just needed to talk to her.
As MacAdams and I are returning back to our cars, there is a bystander that's coming down the road beeping the horn and saying they fled, they were in another vehicle.
We just flagged down on the scene. Allegedly got into another document called Honda Accord.
I knew everybody was coming. Once you put out shots fired over the radio, everybody in the county's coming.
After a few minutes, I heard Deputy Copenhagen was directly behind the vehicle.
Bank robberies don't happen every day in Richland County or the Columbia area. they had been involved in a gunfight. I can't think of anything more dangerous than somebody's wanting to shoot it out with the police. We weren't going to give up till they were apprehended. Their speed was anywhere from probably 85 to 100 miles an hour. Those roads are not designed for that kind of speed. There's very little shoulder. I figured the longer we let this go, the more chances for a bad outcome. A mom in her minivan, I believe she had her children in the minivan, was coming south on. This takes us to a different level.
All right, Max, scratch it. If I get a shite on the ditch.
The adrenaline factor and the risk factor of this scenario was probably the highest I've seen in my 25-year career. He forced me into the back end, and at that point it was like, okay, all bets are off.
All right, I hit him once. Stand by for a second shot.
And it kind of shot him off the side of the road, and he hit a street sign and came back on. At this point, his hood had popped up. I was basically have a front row seat to a catastrophe. I think the fact that they showed total disregard for anybody else's safety, that was maybe one of 3 times in my 25-year career where I actually got angry at a suspect. They were expecting a second gun battle to ensue. He was driving completely blind. My thought was, we're going to bring this to a conclusion in one form or another right here and now. Two of the suspects flee out the back passenger door into the trailer park. The driver's still in the car. Myself and Brad Maxwell took him out of the car at gunpoint and placed him in handcuffs safely. We had the other 2 in custody probably in about 45 seconds. When I searched the car after we had all 3 in custody, we found close to $10,000 in U.S. currency that was stolen from the bank. There was a MacAdams and 2 handguns.
Later in the evening, after we got released from headquarters, my mom came over to the house. I don't remember us really saying anything. She was just focused on being a mom and worrying about me.
My name is Dawn MacAdams. Ryan MacAdams is my son. I saw a call come in from Ryan, and I just let it go to voicemail.
And before you see it on the news, I'm okay. So I just said I could call and tell you that at least tonight. Bye.
The following days, I didn't really sleep that much. it would play over in my head over and over. He coded on going to the hospital later.
I realized that he really was not coping well. I could see it in the way he was becoming detached. I absolutely think Ryan's life changed that day.
One of my first nights back, I started stopping cars again, and there was one that I was stopping them for speeding. I remember I turned the lights on, and immediately they stopped. So, without thinking, I had my gun out of my holster, pointed at the car, and was getting out of my car with my gun pointed at the driver's door. And then I sat there and I was like, what am I doing? Best way to describe it would be post-traumatic stress. So at that point I figured I should probably look into that.
I'm extremely proud of the way MacAdams handled itself. It showed that admitting this didn't hinder your ability to be a law enforcement officer.
People need to feel more comfortable about their mental health. It's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to ask for help. Words can't describe how proud I am of him.
I'm definitely in a better place.